We're in their house, but we're looking forward to next week when we have to play a tougher opponent. So he has to kind of keep them from looking ahead to next week, because that'll be a great game next Saturday, by the way. Is that a noon kickoff, or is that going to be a night game against Penn State?
It's a night game.
Okay. But I mean, yeah, I agree with you, but I think that they really cannot overlook Illinois. And I've had the chance of USF's played Illinois. They played Illinois, I think, 2 seasons in a row. Here and then in at home, or last year it was on the road. They beat them. But I agree. I think if Michigan doesn't need to overlook this team, they don't. They need to play. And you know what? If maybe covering the spread, they don't have to cover the spread. Maybe just say, okay, we win by 2 touchdowns, and we come out of here healthy. We don't lose anybody majorly. We come out of here healthy, and we get a win, and then we can then move on, Sunday, Monday. Then we can get ready to travel to Pennsylvania to play Penn State, because, again, it's going to be – that is one of the hardest stadiums in college football to play in Happy Valley. It's one of them, one of the most loudest. In fact, my team, the Gators, gets to go to one of the loudest in Death Valley at LSU this week. That's going to be
you got to go to Death Valley?
That game. And I was really happy last week with Florida beating Auburn, which the defense really stepped up and shut down Bo Nix in that running game. They have a huge assignment this week, because Joe Burrow and company is just as good or better. So it's going to be interesting against LSU. And this is always a game that, as a Gator fan, I always circle on my calendar, because there's been so many good classic Gator LSU games that have – now, yes, if Florida loses, does it knock them out of the SEC championship? No. We have to beat Georgia. That's the team that the Gators have to beat, and that's 3 weeks away, because we have a bye week in between. We play LSU, then we play South Carolina. We got a bye week, then we play Georgia in Jacksonville. But these next 3 games, they got through 1. These next 3, even the South Carolina game, I'm going to call that a trap game, just like the one you guys have this week against Illinois, where you're overlooking your opponent to go to the next week and play a tougher opponent. So, the South Carolina game could be one of those trap games. So the Gators are going to have to play, if they lose to LSU, they got to revamp, get ready to play South Carolina, then have the bye week. Then we have to go to Jacksonville to play the Bulldogs. But, I mean, I agree with you, Bud. I just, with the way that the Wolverines have played the last 2 weeks, I just don't see them having any issues with Illinois, as long as Harbaugh can keep their mindset of, we need to play this game now and not worry about next week. Yeah.
Because next week, if they lose to Illinois, they're done. Everything that you want to accomplish is on a week-to-week. In college football, it's one thing that I think NFL football is superior to college football in a way, is because in the NFL, you can have 4 or 5 losses and still make the playoffs and still be considered a really good team. In college football, if you have 2 losses, good, bad, or indifferent, and you're done. You can have 2. If you lose 2 games, you're out of the playoff hunt.
Yeah.
And so, I just overlooking Illinois. I know they're not a great football team. I know they're not. I know they're not Wisconsin. I know they're not Iowa, but we've struggled against some of these teams, like Indiana, for whatever reason. Indiana and Minnesota and Purdue, some of the middling teams in the Big Ten, we have struggled against for no apparent reason. And I don't know if that's because of how the scheduling has fallen out, or what. But it just getting, and I don't know what the weather's supposed to be like in Champaign on Saturday, but if it's windy, they're in Champaign, which is near Chicago. It could be windy, could be rainy. We've had fumbling issues, so it's do your job and take care of the football and
Right.
get out of there healthy and with a win.
Yeah, I agree with you. And again, now that you still got Penn State, you still got Michigan State, and you still got Ohio State looming
And
in the
Notre
later,
Dame.
and I forgot about them. So I mean, you got those
Yeah, I
four
try to
games,
forget about them too.
and that's not going to. I mean, Michigan State, yeah, because Ohio State handled them pretty well last Saturday. That's the game that worries me now, Bud, is the end of the season because Ohio State doesn't look like they can be stopped. And I hate to say that. Wisconsin might be the team that stops them. I hope.
I'm not even worried about November. I want to get through September or October.
Yep.
I'm very much you can't worry about what's going to happen. All you can worry about is this Saturday. You can't.
Right. You can't worry about. No, yeah. You can't look ahead. You got to just deal with the month that's in front of you. That's good. It's good.
And the games that are in front of you, you can only play. You only play one game a week.
Correct.
We can. Of course, it would be silly. Of course, I'm not someone that's like, and to say that you can't be scouting Ohio State right now, but I'm not worried about Ohio State. When it's November, I think that's 16th. That's when I'll worry about Ohio State. Today they look right now they look unbeatable, but we're a long way. They're if one of their linemen goes down or that running back goes down, or the quarterback, it's such a football is such a game of inches, and
Well, it's funny that you say that because I think I had someone come on here not too long ago and say that same thing. Oh, maybe I think it was Von Allen said to me a few weeks ago. He said, we have, our Patriots are undefeated still to this point. Well, I could say this.
14-0.
You could agree with me or disagree. The last 2 weeks that I've seen, the offense has not been clicking. And I don't know what it is, but since the Miami game, we have not really clicked on offense that well. Or since the Jets, whatever. But since then, the Bills and the Redskins, we have not played very well. Not played very well offensively. Now, the good news is the defense has been outstanding all season and has kept us in games. I mean, there hasn't been any close games in the Buffalo game, but after that, this is not the typical, Patriot offense that we're used to seeing. We're used to seeing them scoring. And but see, that's the good part. That's the good part is we are not really. And I think the scary part is we haven't reached that point yet where we can be a great offensive team. And that's what makes it really scary to me as a Patriot or as an outsider.
It's very much that sports cliche. They don't ask just how many.
Right.
And to me that's what makes sports fun. It doesn't matter how you get it done, just get it done.
Get it done. Correct.
And that's one of the things that I like about college basketball over college football in a way, is that, especially with the expanded, and I know it's so much harder to do college basketball or college basketball style tournament for football because you can only play so many games with that. Where basketball you can just stack them up and you can play 3 nights in a row and not have to have a day off. But whereas college football, college football is a tournament every week. It's literally one and done every week.
Yeah.
And of course, and like we're talking after the Wisconsin game, and Michigan isn't the only team I follow, but it's the team I follow most closely. And to talk about Michigan is I a theory of, a lot of people want to see them go away from Shea Patterson. And the reason why I think they haven't and they won't is because of the transfer pool. Because, if you're looking to transfer, let's say, even if you're not a quarterback, if you're looking to transfer, if you're a wide receiver or you're a running back or even a defensive back, if you're looking at all your options and, you're a fifth-year senior or for graduate transfer, and you're looking to go somewhere, and you want to go somewhere with the prestige, but you also want to go and you want to play. And so if you bench Patterson, I mean, even though he hasn't necessarily gotten the job done as much as one would like,
right?
It can hurt your ability to recruit out of the college transfer pool, because why would I want to go to Michigan if some upstart freshman is just going to take my job? I might as well go to Illinois or Purdue and at least get playing time.
Right.
And that's why I think that it's so hard to it's so hard to bench Patterson, even though I think that the quarterbacks that we have on the bench are going to be excellent quarterbacks, at least in college. Jury's still out on how they'll perform in the NFL. McCaffrey, that's Dylan McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey's younger brother, and we have this kid Joe Milton, who has a tremendous arm talent, but I don't know about the rest of his talent. It's still up in the air,
Right.
He was in training camp, not training camp, but practice this week. He was saying he threw a ball 85 yards in the air. And as impressive as that sounds, to me, it doesn't really matter. You can throw it, just because you can throw it 85 yards in the air. Can you be accurate with it? Can you be consistent with it?
Yeah. Well, then too. I mean, when teams prepare for you to do that, are you going to be able to do it when it comes down to crunch time too? You could say, during practice is different than during, live ball. So it's a little bit different and stuff like that. So, yeah, you can say I threw an 85-yard pass in practice, but, yeah, that's great and all. But remember, can you do that during game time? Because some people can't.
And so, it's very much hit or miss thing.
Right.
What do you think? Do you think, to move on from football, because I do like other sports, do you think that, I forget the manager's name, and then, LA, do you think he gets the axe?
I didn't hear what was the question put up, sorry?
The manager in Oakland? Or not Oakland,
Oh, you're talking about the Dodger manager. You're talking about Dave Roberts.
Yeah, I forget his name. Yeah. Do you think he gets the axe?
Yeah, but there has to be. The Lightning just won 7-3. There has to be some kind of change. That team has gone. They went to the World Series 2 years in a row. They lost to the Astros, who I think are still beating the Rays. Yes, they are 4-1 in the bottom of the seventh.
Still 4-1, yeah.
They lost to the Astros and they lost to my Red Sox last year in the World Series. And the talk of this year was, this is the year. Dave Roberts is going to get them over the hump. But Clayton Kershaw, who's one of the best pitchers I've ever seen in my life, can't do it in the playoffs. And that showed last night with the Nationals. The Nationals aren't the greatest team in the world, but the one thing about baseball is timely hits. And they got the timely hits. They had two home runs in the top of the eighth inning, back-to-back home runs off of Kershaw to tie that game, force it into extras. And what do they do in extras? Howie Kendrick comes up and hits a grand slam. Once that ball hit the stands, if you watch the replay, I watched it today at work, half of the Dodger fans left. They knew the game was over right there.
Game was over.
They knew
Yeah,
it.
game
They
was
knew
over.
right there that the game was over.